Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
They have acquired Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox in exchange for James Shield.
Welcome to Slam Diego!
My name is James,
My name is Joey.
and this is the Brothers Padre.
James, are you familiar with the modern day poet Dua Lipa?
So I'm going to say no because it's the truth, but I'm also 90% sure you just made him up.
Dua Lipa is a woman. She's not really a poet. She's a pop star. She has a song called Love Again. And the lyric says, I can't believe there's something left in my chest anymore. And I'm going to put in an extra word here. But the Padres, you got me in love again.
She is a poet. I apologize to Miss Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Dua Lipa? Dua Lipa?
Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa.
James, what a wild week.
Like, have you ever been... This is how I describe this week. Have you ever been kicked in the balls, and then, like, 2 days later, someone gives you an ice cream sundae?
Oh, yeah.
That's
exactly what happened.
That's what it is. Like, has all your favorite toppings and ice cream, everything.
Yeah. Oh, I am like, I was dancing. And my wife's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, the Padres won. Twice in a row.
Twice in a row. Yes, we lost the previous 5, but we won twice in a row. Something I thought we might never see again this year.
James, it's the recap episode. We have a lot more to discuss. We're gonna do the shorter recap. I'm gonna go through each game, give you the score, and then we'll go and look back at the Dodgers series and the Giants series. Past 7 days, James, we played the Los Angeles Dodgers Friday to Saturday, and the San Francisco Giants Monday through Thursday. Today.
Yes.
Thursday. Friday.
But Friday the 10th.
Los Angeles Dodgers beat us 0-3. September 11th. You know, that day.
Nothing significant has ever happened on that day.
Nope. I lost 4-5. Dodgers beat us.
Okay, wasn't the worst thing that's ever happened on that day.
No, definitely not the worst thing. How can I pivot from that?
No, because the next day was worse.
Sunday, we lost 0-8. And this is the point when I text James in my mind. Well, I thought about texting, like, why do I do a podcast? Why do I have to relive these moments? And then, like, we'll turn it around. Monday, September 13th, San Francisco Giants beat us 9-1. Tuesday, the 14th, San Francisco Giants beat us 6-1. At this point, it's the darkest of times. Like, we
lost our lead. We're no longer first in the wild card hunt.
Yep.
We're technically third
Yep.
behind the Reds and the Cardinals.
And that was like, oh, this isn't great. And I'm like, we're never, and I'm gonna stop the recap, and we should just talk about why this is horrible. These days, the 3 Dodgers games and these 2 Giants games, I have not seen. This was the worst stretch in an already bad stretch.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Max Scherzer almost threw a perfect game against us on Sunday. Threw an immaculate inning against us. Eric Hosmer gave him number 3,000 of his career. And it was the darkest of times. And just like Miss Lipa said, I can't believe I can feel anything anymore. You know.
Do you have a photo of this person? I don't even know who this person is.
She's a modern pop star.
Okay, then never mind. I know for a fact I don't know.
I definitely am going to show you a photo, and you're not going to recognize her.
Okay.
But this is Miss Dua Lipa.
You're right. I don't know who that person is. Was she one of those people that was wearing trash cans or trash bags during that Met Gala?
Why would I know that information, James? Do you think
But you seem to know who this person is.
Dua
I
Lipa?
assume you
Yeah.
know. I assume you know, like, our number one fan.
I don't know. I just know about her.
I just know that I keep seeing photos of all these rich people dressed up as pirates.
Yeah.
And shiny knights that went to some thing.
Because the end of the day is, no matter how rich or poor you are, you still want to go to costume parties. That's like
That's true.
just because they spend $30,000 in their costume doesn't, you can't judge them.
I went as a paper mache pickle one year.
True, you were. It was. I honestly thought the season was over. And it may still be over.
Might still be over.
But I was like, this is very terrible. I don't know if there's much to recap because it could all be we write notes and the notes are predominantly the same for all 5 games. Offense is dead unless your name's Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr., who Tatis and Machado almost won us the game on Saturday, but other people need to hit the ball too.
Yeah, and Saturday was another
I was against the Dodgers.
quality start for Musgrove.
Yep.
Darvish struggled on Friday. Snell left on Sunday with a groin pull, so now our pitching is struggling again.
Friday, Jake Cronenworth gets eliminated for this whole bunch of group of games because he got hit in the hand, a minor fracture of his finger. Yeah, it just was bad. Darvish failing. We're just not able to score any run. Like at a certain point, I was like, what difference does it make if a guy gives up 2 runs or 8 runs? We can't even score 2 runs. So like, what's the it doesn't matter if you have a good or a bad pitching staff. I mean, we should have been shut out one of the first 2 Giants games, but we didn't. But I mean, no runs, 4 runs, no runs, 1 run, 1 run. It was bad.
Very, very bad.
But now, ladies and gentlemen, why we're so happy.
The last 48 hours have been a phenomenal occurrence.
Do you wanna take this one, James?
All right. So I said the words 48 hours, much like the movie 48 hours.
What movie's 48 hours?
48 hours.
Is that like a direct-to-movie version of 127 hours for someone with shorter attention span?
It was you just ruined my whole metaphor. I was going to talk about how Eddie Murphy, comedic genius.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. No, whatever.
I actually didn't. I thought you were making the movie up. Is there actually a movie called 48 Hours?
48 Hours, yeah, starring Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
You've never seen it?
You've never heard Dua Lipa, so we're even.
Yes. One's a classic,
Yeah, well.
and one's some woman that no one's ever heard of.
You'd be very surprised how wrong you are.
Anyways, the last 48 hours has been a classic, just awesome baseball. It was exciting. Our pitching staff is still not the best, but we won the next 2 games.
Yep.
It was
9-6 on Wednesday and 7-4 today.
yes, and our offense just damn.
It's like someone told them, "Oh, you can hit. Remember you can hit. Yeah. Remember you can use the bat, the bat thing. You can use it."
Someone reminded Adam Frazier of batting over 300 and top 2 in hits in the league. Yesterday he got 4 hits. Today he got 3 hits. Yesterday Fernando Tatis got 4 hits. Today he got 2 hits. To tell you how Kevin Acee tweeted the first 5 games of this road trip, the Padres only had 25 hits. The last 2 days, we've had 30.
It was really crazy. Like I was legit like, this is incredible. Just you look at the box score and you're like, this isn't the same Padre team from the first 5 games of this series road trip. The Padres had like the past 2 games, multiple people have multiple hits. Profar had Profar has been looking really good these past 2 games. He's been on top of the lineup. He's been leading off. He's been drawing out bats, hitting home runs, hitting doubles.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
And this, because the National League is kind of a dumpster fire, somehow we have gone 2 for 5 the past 7 games. And we are now a half game back from the second wild card spot. And whomstava do we play this weekend, James?
The Cardinals, who are half a game back from. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we take merely 2 out of 3 games from them, we will be first place.
Mm-hmm.
And the Reds are playing the Dodgers this weekend. Their only top team they're playing for the rest of the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So potentially, if the Dodgers could sweep the Reds, and we can take 2 out of 3 or sweep the Cardinals, we'll be in a very good spot.
Absolutely wild. I cannot believe we went 2 for 5 the past 7 games.
And we're feeling okay. We're feeling okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel okay if we won 2 dumb games against the Giants. The way we won, and the Giants are the best team in baseball record-wise.
And the one thing about the Giants which makes them so potent, is they have the most comeback wins of the year.
Oh yeah,
They've come back being behind and coming back to win 40-something times this year. So even though you're ahead,
it was scary.
no lead's comfortable with them.
No, and you just see how they approach everything, and basically they just hunt mistakes, and they are especially good against relief pitchers. I feel like they're just like, after the 5th inning when a relief pitcher comes in, they just nail down whatever the relief pitcher's path of a baseball or whatever, something, and they just they hit tons of home runs. And we saw it the past 2 games. It was 7-3 going into 9th, right? So in the 8th, and they get 2 more solo shots, they get an extra run in the 9th. Yeah. So it didn't feel comfortable, but we beat up on Kevin Gausman today, who is a Cy Young candidate most likely. And we hit against one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Yeah, it was
Right.
it was really quite good.
Yes. I it's crazy how hopeful I am now. And it might be delusion,
So I am very happy this happened. I won't feel hopeful until our next recap episode. Because
Okay.
2 really good games does not mean a stretch. If we can win the Cardinals series and then come back and beat the Giants a couple games at home, I think we might have a chance.
I retweeted from the official Brothers Padre account a tweet basically saying that we're back. I think for the first time on our podcast, am way more deluded than you are.
I've been hurt before, and I know I'm super pumped. I'm super looking forward to this next couple games, but
I get it.
we're not. The Cardinals still have Goldschmidt and Arenado. They're still a good team.
Yeah. They're not. It's not going to be easy, but that offense that we saw against the Giants was an offense that hit well against good pitching.
It was.
It was an offense that hit good against good pitching, and it was an offense that was able to capitalize really, really well. And if that Adam Frazier shows up for the rest of the season, I don't care, because that's if you have Tatis, who's now I'm the MVP again, so I'm just hitting like crazy. You have Frazier, who can hit. I mean, that was his 4th 4-hit game this year. What?
Yes, and then the thing is with
it's crazy.
Tatis, three of his hits were, again, they were throwing sliders away, and he just flinged the head of his bat out and got a single through the gap in their defense because it's playing him to pull. And he was trying to hit home runs off those. So that's exactly what you do. You get on base.
Right. I think that if for some reason the Padres actually turned it around, and I do think they did, this offense, no matter how good of pitching you have, will at least make it tough for you to.
I agree.
And I think it's just it's such a remarkably different. It's such a remarkably different approach than the previous week or a month, and it just is like this. I have to believe this is here to stay. I don't have to believe it. I'm choosing to believe it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we're going to take the Giants series and the Cardinals series.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to feel hope again.
I will say one thing. The last podcast, I said I'd be annoyed if we went through a 7-game stretch and still were in it.
So if we had a losing record and still in it.
Yeah. And that's what happened.
You jinxed us.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm not that annoyed anymore because I feel like, I think it's...
The last 2 games, the hitters' approaches have been so different than what they have been. They're not swinging for the fences every time.
Yeah.
They gain on base. Hosmer got a hit and drove in 2 runs.
Yeah, well, he's also one for whatever.
The one hit he got drove in 2 runs. So anyways.
Yeah. I think this team sees these 2 wins. I think Tommy Pham is still bitter about the Cardinals thing. I think he goes ham. I think Tatis always loves hitting. His dad's from the Cardinal. Tatis is like, this is where my dad did all this stuff.
I know this place. I played baseball here as a kid.
Right. I think Manny's going to Manny. Adam Frazier's like, oh, yeah, I used to play against these guys in my division all the time. So he knows all the pitchers super well. Yeah, I think...
Cronenworth's coming back from his finger injury, so his finger's going to be better.
Yeah. Hopefully Hosmer never plays again.
I was going to ask you, what do you think the Padres need to do to keep things going?
Hosmer did nothing the past 2 games. That one hit... Everyone had multiple hits. Will Myers had 2 pinch hit RBI hit. 2.
Yeah.
And he was like, he only had 2 at bats the past 2 games. And he had better hits than Hosmer. Hosmer is a liability at this point because he's just not getting on base the same clip as everyone else. And you see Profar, and you're red hot. You're staying in. And you see Jake Cronenworth, like, oh, Jake Cronenworth, right? You're not going to not play Jake Cronenworth. So Hosmer has to be, like, you play the hot hand. At this point forward, it's the hottest of hands. Who has the hottest hands, James? Get out the temperature gun. Who has the hottest hands? You're in the lineup, dude.
Cronenworth hasn't had a hit in 7 games, and he has a hotter hand.
Yes.
But at least we know he can play better defense.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think from going forward, if Cronenworth comes back, he has to play first. We keep Tatis at short, Frazier at second, Cronenworth at first, and in the outfield we have to platoon Pham, Profar, Grisham, and Myers. I think Myers is swinging a hotter bat than Pham is.
There's a case to be made as well that Grisham sits this weekend as well.
I agree.
Because Grisham is mighty lost at the plate. Not as lost as Hosmer, but close. He just is not. He's just not really doing that many hits. He's just grounding out a ton, a lot. He has 2 sacrifice flies this past 2 games, but I just want him to turn it around. But there's a reasonable case to be made that it could be Profar center, Pham, Myers, and then the infield is Machado, Tatis, Frazier and Cronenworth.
I think that's the absolute best scenario.
Yeah.
And Pham can play center field, and so can
Yeah.
Myers. So
Yeah.
they're not as good as center fielders as Grisham, obviously.
Right.
But you can always sub Grisham in for defensive replacement later on.
Yeah. I think you have to play the hot hand. I think that, the bullpen situation is like, to me, is now like the weirder situation, right? Because we have this Giants series reminded us that we don't really have shut down 7th or 8th inning guys. We just don't.
We don't. And the thing is, our best shutdown guy right now is Nabil Krismat. And legitimately, he has gotten better as the season's gone on.
Yeah. After the game today, he said, I treat every single game like the first game in the big leagues. I always want to impress. I always want to make sure that I'm putting my best foot forward. Like, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
He today had 4 innings of shutout baseball against the best team in baseball. Guess what, buddy? You're sticking around.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going back down to the minors. You are our long reliever.
He honestly might get. I mean, what happened today isn't a bad strategy, right? You get Pierce to get the 1, 2, and 3 guys out, and you just give it to Nabil and see how far he can go. Because he threw 60+ pitches, so he could have been 5 innings if he was super efficient. But the bullpen, like, that's the biggest question. We used Melanson 3 days in a row. You know?
Yeah.
And so he's not available Friday. And like a lot of people on Twitter were like, "Oh, this is stupid." I'm like, he's the only one who hasn't had a blow up inning. Like the Giants know him well. He literally used to be a Giant, right? And the first time he was out there, he struggled. Second time, he only gave up 1 run. Third time, 1 run. Well, every one of the other relievers were way bigger threats. Emilio Pagan, I don't know how he did it. The past 2 outings against the Giants, he didn't allow any runs. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm happy for it.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't get it. But like now we use Emilio for 2 days. So Emilio can't be pitched for. We used Hudson now for tonight. We used Melanson for 3 nights. So what happens tomorrow? Like, how do you play that game then?
Because we have our brand new ace starting the game.
Was it 2 days ago?
Yeah.
It happened? In between our recordings, Vince Velasquez, a starting pitcher, formerly of the Philadelphia Phillies, was DFA'd, designated for assignment. No one picked him up, and the Padres gave him a major league contract to pitch for us. And that means that because he's got signed in this year, he's not eligible for the playoff roster. So I know I'm being ahead of myself with those hopes, but he is now a starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres. He pitches tomorrow. He has as good as an ERA as the current Cardinals pitcher, who we're facing tomorrow. 5.5. Not great.
No, not the best.
So the weekend series against the Cardinals, which we've mentioned, is very important. We have a guy who's never pitched for us before, a guy who struggled, Darvish, and a guy who hasn't pitched super well generally all year, Jake Arrieta. And we have a bullpen that's somewhat tired after a bullpen game.
So that's why we haven't said sweep.
I really, really want tomorrow has to be a game where the offense, like, it's our turn to just take care of you guys.
I agree.
And just like mash beyond belief. Tatis is going to see Busch Stadium. He's going to see the arches. You can see the arches from the stadium.
It's just one arch. It's not McDonald's. It's one arch.
Are you sure about that?
I've been there. I've seen them. I've seen the arch.
Yeah. You know, it's designed by a Finnish person. Isn't that funny?
What?
Yeah, the arch was designed by a Finnish person. Wouldn't you think like an American icon monument should be designed by an American? Whatever. We're way out. We're not talking about
All
baseball.
I think I know about the arch is that there was a giant competition to to design it, and the guy that designed the arch was the son of a very famous architect, and they both submitted their designs, and they got the congratulations letter, and they forgot to put the junior at the end of the letter. So they had a big party for the father, thinking he got this. His thing was like a park, and then when he showed up, they went, "No, we want the arch." But, I'll get my son on the phone.
How hard is that design? It's a big old arch, whatever.
and I know you dabble in our architecture.
I do dabble in it. I dabble in criticism of it. That's for sure.
that is true.
So Tatis is going to see that, the son of the famous architect's arch, and he's like, I'm going to hit a bunch of home runs. Like I said, I think it's going to be good vibes. I think that flight, they said, is going to be very happy. I think Tommy is going to be like, I hate this organization. They cut me. I made tons of foundations here, and they cut me. And they put me to a place in Florida where no one even comes. It's like, I think he's going to be mad. I think he's going to hit home runs. I think we're going to mash, because that's the only way we win this week.
I agree. We're gonna mash, and also the Cardinals are a good hitting team, but they're no Giants.
No.
Here's an interesting stat. How many 1, 2, 3 innings did we have over the game with 4 games with the Giants?
I know it didn't feel like a lot. I'm going to say 5. No, I'm going to say 6.
1.
Oh, my God. I knew it felt unnerving the whole time. It's like, why are there always people on base?
Because the Giants are the best hitting team in baseball. And luckily, all the home runs we gave up the last 2 games were only solo shots.
Yep.
So, yeah, there was only 1, 2, 3 inning.
Wild.
And there's the Cardinals. Yeah, they have, that catcher, and they also have.
Which catcher? I don't know if I'm familiar with this guy.
I know they kept on talking about him during the playoffs. I can't remember. I mean, some dude that I don't think deserves to go to the playoffs. I mean, Hall of Fame. But anyways, Nolan Arenado, and yes, I'm still bitter about the playoff coverage from last year, ladies and gentlemen. That is. Anyways, I'm still bitter about the playoff coverage from 1998. So
yeah.
I don't let go of grudges. Anyways, Nolan Arenado and Goldschmidt are both really good hitters. They have a couple other decent hitters, but they don't have an all-star lineup like the Giants
are just like Evan Longoria was batting 7th, and he's a 900 OPS. You're like, okay. Like,
Chris Bryant was batting either 6th or 7th.
What? It's just wild. But we split the series. Can't be mad about that.
We cannot be. No, not at all.
I think we're gonna mash, because that's how we have. That's literally how we're gonna win. We can't beat them with pitching prowess, starting pitching prowess. No way. And, I think that we did a bullpen game on Sunday for the Cardinals. Cardinals did not have a good bullpen. Adam Wainwright on Saturday, we destroyed Adam Wainwright when he pitched in Petco. I think we're gonna mash. We're now just talking about predictions. I think we're going to go
the next, 6 games?
Yeah, 3 against the Cardinals, and then we travel home. We have an off day. We travel home to San Diego, and the Giants come into town for 3 games. I think that we now have the Giants' number. This is what I'm saying. I'm sticking with this. I think that after a incredible series against where we beat the Cardinals, we're going to feel good. And we'll go 4-2 over the next 6 games.
That's what I was going to say too, 4-2. And just because you accused me of not being as
deluded, my bad.
Happy, I'm going to say 5-1.
5-1. Oh, we should mention that both of us got it wrong last week.
Oh, there was no doubt.
I was being negative for 3 and 4. That wasn't negative enough.
No, not at all. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I say 5-1. I think there's a strong possibility we sweep the Cardinals. We swept them last time we faced them, but because I want to prove that I'm still a bigger optimist than you, 5-1.
I really think that this is how I look at it. The Padres have to be what they were the past 2 games to even get to the playoffs. Right?
There is no doubt this next 6 games
Yeah.
is probably the most important 6 games the Padres have played all year.
The next 3 are the most crucial.
True.
Of the 6 games, the next 3 are like, can we jump? If we sweep the Cardinals, we have not a lot of padding, but we pad ourselves a little bit in the lead for second wild card. But then we face the Giants, and then we have to like do it again. And then we face the Braves, and we have to do it again. And then we face the Dodgers, and we got to do it again.
Because
And
that's
then-
our last homestand next week. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be going to the game on Wednesday.
the Giants one,
Yes.
the 22nd.
And we're both going to the game on Sunday.
Yep. The final game. I hope you want to know. We're now so outside the template of our episode. I don't care. So, I want, in my hardest of hearts, in my deluded brain, I want us to win. Let me do math real fast. Hold on. It's after 5. We all know I don't do math after 5. Let me think. So Friday, Saturday,
Architecture,
Sun-
yes. Math, no.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then Friday, 2 Friday games, and Saturday and Sunday. I want us to see on the last home game of the year the capping off of a 12-game winning streak that clinches the playoffs at home.
That would be a feat of all feats.
I want it to happen, James.
That would be fantastic.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
I've never had the privilege of watching a Padres team clinch at home.
Neither have I.
And the last time, no one was allowed in the stands. So,
I was at
you have playoff games, yeah.
I've been at playoff games before, but I'm saying like the last home game. I 2 years ago, 2019, I was the last home game of the year.
Yeah.
It lasted 17 innings.
Yeah. Did not clinch the playoff.
Did not clinch the playoffs. No.
But how awesome would it be? All of Petco, all 30-some-odd-thousand of us. Freddie Freeman's up to bat. Mark Melanson is pitching the 9th inning. And Freddie Freeman does a deep fly ball, but not deep enough. Caught by a right fielder, and pandemonium because the Padres get to the playoffs.
That would be fantastic.
Very unrealistic, but it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, it'd be only 5 games left. We could easily clinch it by then.
Yep.
I think that Padre fans need it. So, Eric Rupner, CEO of the Padres, AJ
I know.
Preller, Chase Tingler, make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Not just because that's the only ticket I have left. Partially that, but make it happen. For your fans. For me.
For
I've
me.
never
For the Brothers Padre. We created this podcast to root for you.
Yeah, right. I want to see it.
And since you guys started to stink, our listenership has gone down.
Yeah, the numbers say it. James, I realized I was on the door of desperation on Tuesday. When was it?
Wednesday.
Yeah, right before the start of our winning streak started.
Our epic comeback.
I was like, this is going to be sad. I'm just not used. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to give up on baseball. I'm not ready to give up on Padres baseball. You and I are big baseball fans, so we like the playoffs regardless if the Padres are in it. But I was like, I'm just not quite ready. And these gave me hope. And Miss Lipa said, make me fall in love again. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts.
Not even let me respond. Okay. Fine.
What do you want to say, James?
We're on Spotify. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're everywhere. Please just remember the Padres, we're in love with you for a reason. We're showing you love. Show us some love and get us to the playoffs. And until next time,
Go Padres.
go Padres.
And there it is. Ho-ho, doctor. You can hang a star on that, baby.
You'd be very surprised how wrong you are.